Hi guys, welcome to another episode. First and foremost, I would like to apologize for my rusty voice, but the weather wasn't good to me this weekend and I was very responsible, so I guess that's how we're gonna have to make it work. I hope it doesn't bother that much anyways. So for today's episode, I would like to talk about sonder and what it means. We've already talked about it. We already hear a lot about it on social media, but we don't quite understand what it is. So let's get into it. I found a little definition on the Cambridge Dictionary so that maybe it can be a little bit more clear of what we're talking about. So sonder is a strong feeling of realizing that every person you see has their own life story in which they are the most important person. I feel like this is already a good definition, but it's also a very short one. It's just that realization that other people are the main character in their own story, that we are actually not the main character of the universe, and that other people can have the same feelings and react the same way we do to things, that they are not just NPCs or people on the background that just fill our lives. And this is a very difficult concept to understand because the human in itself is very selfish. We are selfish. And it's also very ego challenging to realize and accept that everyone else has their own inner world and that it's just as complex as yours is. We have to realize that, okay, not everything that is happening to me concerns me, and not everything has something to do with me. Some things happen to you because other people are the main character in their lives. And the situation that just happened is just a consequence to you of their own acts. So I have a little example to talk about this and to kind of make you understand what I mean. Because a while ago I had a verbal fight with someone, and it was nothing huge. It was just maddening because it just made me feel very, it just made me feel like I was being treated unfairly, and I was very pissed about it. I had facts of something that the person did, and we were talking, so I just told them about what I knew, and everything that was coming out of their mouth was just pure provocation. It was just answering back to me, and it was not actually factual things. It was just kind of like, it was just trying to provoke me because there was no base in what they were saying. And since someone interrupted, the fight was completely forgotten about after, yet it was still doing something to me. Because I was so pissed, I also told my boyfriend about it, and he's a very wise person, and I look up to him a lot. So I just, every time he says something, I also really take the time to really try to understand. He just told me that I kind of needed to understand the environment we were in, and maybe that's how I would explain that person's behavior. And I was thinking about it, and while I was thinking about it, I actually realized that we were in public. We were not the two alone. In that environment, that person already had a bad image. So I feel like to kind of up this scale a little bit, they just started provoking me. I am not sure about it. I also don't know why they would do that, but that's how I see it. But what if we change perspective? You enter a room and there's someone commenting on something you did wrong in front of people that already put you down and already see you as little. What is your reaction? You're gonna try to defend yourself. But how? If you acknowledge what you did, it's something very mature, yes, but you're gonna get bullied for it too. You're gonna be put down for that on top of everything else. So the other option is to think that, okay, the person that is pointing out a mistake I did is also a human, which means they are also not perfect and they also do mistakes. So if we shift the attention from me to that person, my mistake will just drown in the rest of the conversation. And I feel like this is sonder. You take something so personally that it consumes you, and you don't understand why people would do that to you. Because they attacked you, they were mean to you, and they hurt you. But in their heads, it was just about themselves since the beginning. You were merely a little pawn in the game so that they could actually win it. And of course, this is also a very selfish behavior because the person is just thinking about themselves in the situation and is trying to turn everything around. But from your perspective, it's still not about you. And what makes sonder so complex is that we have two selfish perspectives and we have to kind of break out of them to understand that people are being selfish. I'm not saying that being selfish is bad, but it's a fact. Everyone has their own lives and everyone has feelings that you can't even begin to imagine. So when they start to react according to those feelings, everything kind of becomes a little confusing because you don't know why the person is doing that. Because in your mind, it's also about you. In your mind, you're thinking the way they are thinking. There is a contradiction because we can't really understand what's happening to the other person since we're just thinking about ourselves. But it's also a vicious circle because a person exists, they do something to you, and you think that because you exist, it has to do with you. But it doesn't. And you get very confused because why isn't my life about me? Your life is about you. Doesn't mean that other people's lives have to be too. And because there are feelings that we don't know about, we don't know where the person is coming from. So we don't understand why they are reacting that type of way that is also affecting us negatively, even if we think that we are doing the right thing because we pointed a mistake that we wanted them to correct. But in their head, it was another trigger to being bullied. We cannot and we will not ever be 100% aware of everything, and that's completely normal. It's impossible because people have their own problems and life and emotions just like you do. Not everyone knows about 100% of your life neither. Even you sometimes aren't aware of what's happening in your life because maybe you're just distracted. If you can't be 100% aware of your surroundings and yourself, how will you do that about someone else's life? You know, people aren't merely NPCs in the game that is your life, where everything has to go accordingly to you. Because to them, everything has to work accordingly to them. So at the end, who should life really work accordingly to? Because every human thinks that they're the main character, it makes no one be the main character, finally. They just are in their own selfish minds and lives. That's why sonder is so hard to understand. Because what do you mean? What I'm feeling, someone else can feel too, in the exact same way, in the same intensity. And we also can put ourselves in their shoes because if I can't feel what they're feeling right now, they also don't know what I feel. So it creates kind of a distance between humans because we think that our feelings are unique and according to ourselves and that nobody else could understand it because we can process the fact that people could be feeling the same thing. I know this is becoming very complex and it is a complex subject, but hopefully I'm not losing you. And coming back to my example, of course, maybe the person that was trying to climb the cool ladder wasn't correct, but they weren't correct to us. Maybe they didn't even realize the effects that their behavior could create on the person that they were attacking back. And sonder brings a lot of that perspective clash. Not every attack is personal. Not everything is against us or even for us. Maybe we think it is, especially when it's something positive. But sometimes positive things happen out of pure coincidence. We don't really realize that other people might be living a different reality than we do, especially one that doesn't make us the main character. And because we can't understand that, we are automatically gonna claim that they're in the wrong. It's not because I just saw the sky yellow that someone in Mexico just saw the sky blue that they are in the wrong. We are in two completely different realities and they are both right. Sonder is a very difficult topic because not only is it hard to explain easily, but it also challenges the idea that our perspective is the right one and the complete one. At the same time, we all react to realities that nobody else can fully see. And at the end, if everyone is in the right, everyone is in the wrong. I really like to emphasize that because it's just something that grounds people, because if everyone is right at the end, how do you know what right is, right? In my opinion, it's just people that are trying to deal with the reality that they are given and just try to live through it. And it doesn't mean that you're living through it in the wrong or in the right way, but you're just doing it. It's not because a person also goes to university at 21 and another one starts working at 21 that one of them did something wrong. At the end, both have very different realities and both have positive and negative effects from it. And to circle back to my example, the fact that you understand why someone hurt you or did something wrong doesn't suddenly mean that what they did is correct and that you accept it. But it helps you realize that not every attack was truly about you. And that can also help your self-esteem a little bit. When this happened to me, I started feeling very, very shitty because I just thought that I was all those things that they called me. And maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but at the end, it wasn't truly about me. It was just for them to try and feel better and find a quick solution to their own life situation. And I'll see you next week.